Good afternoon. Welcome to another edition of the SiGMA podcast, part 2 today, as I promised, with Sean Bianco. Sean, thank you so much for agreeing to come again on the show.
Well, I had such a good time the first time, I couldn't help but come back, right?
And you left more questions than answers, which is a good sign, because you really made me think, and I stayed looking back at my notes. And there were many notes. I took 3 pages, in fact, of notes. But there was one thing which stuck with me all throughout the week. You told me the Google algorithm, because you explained all of this, and I told you how the Google algorithm, when it changes, it causes quite a few problems to the people involved. You told me that this year, 2024, it's the most amount of changes that have happened to the algorithm. So the question here is twofold. One, how often are these actual changes? So how much is too much? And 2, why does Google do this?
So it's a great question. And in my career, I haven't seen this many changes in one stretch of time. And if I were to boil it down to the cause mechanics of this, I don't think it has anything to do with the intention to improve the algorithm as much as it does the threat of competition. What do I mean by that?
Threat of competition.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you look at the Google search results, although it is the largest search engine in the world by means of market share, at least last time I checked, which was a month and a half ago, before some changes started coming out, which might impact this, they were at least 95% plus of all searches. What does that mean? It means that 9 out of every 10 searches anywhere in the world which occur
are using
Google. Now, they are under threat as, let's say, quote unquote monopoly, and having that control over the search market, of having intruders start grasp market share. What does that mean?
Yeah.
So OpenAI came in, and although it's not a search engine, it is an artificial intelligence LLM, which you ask questions in natural language and you get natural replies.
LLM, layer language model,
Large
right?
language model.
Large language model.
Now, this is something which came in, and it did scare Google quite a lot, because although Google does retain quite a significant amount of market share, if you look at the product, it hasn't changed much in over 20 years.
Yeah.
So it's a top list of 10 results that get most clicks on the top, and the further down you go, the less clicks there are to have. So
Google is afraid of this AI technology?
Google is afraid of losing market share. And there
This
are
9 out of 10 searches.
Yeah. So there are also some other things which are impacting, such as a deal that they have with Apple. So if you were to type in anything on your Apple device at this point in time, and any search on Safari, that search will be executed on Google as a search engine. So that's a deal which they pay billions for, to have access to the user base of Apple devices. They own their own Chrome browser. The Chrome browser, as default until recently, selected Google as the search engine.
Yeah.
Now, since there are anti-competitive laws which are
Now
coming
you can
out,
choose. This happened a few weeks ago, right?
this did happen a few weeks ago. So now there are more search engines which are getting exposure.
Yeah.
So let's say the closed walled garden that they had around search is starting to be chipped away.
Now, to be honest,
Yeah.
I chose a different one to Google, and I'm regretting it. After we finish, can you tell me how to change it? Because I don't know how to change it. I decided to try with one of my Gmail profiles to use a different search engine, but it doesn't give you the same results.
And look,
Even though it's the same internet, right? Why
So-
don't you get the same results, Sean?
So Google has a algorithm that they've developed over many, many years, which rates websites according to the keyword you're searching for, the country, and the language that person is searching. Now, what tends to happen is that its algorithm has improved significantly over years. But what we've also seen as marketers is that the search results on Google have never been as bad as they were at the tail end of 2023.
How is that possible?
So I ask myself this question: how is it possible for spammy, bad tactics like the ones we spoke about last time getting rewarded more than people who actually invest time and effort into building high quality websites over a long period of time? And I don't have the answer towards that question, but I'll ask you this: how many times do you need to search or click on an answer for a search result before you get the answer to your question on Google?
Almost immediately.
Almost immediately. Now, I guarantee you that if you were to ask 9 out of 10 people, would probably say I click on at least 2 or 3 results before I get the answer to my question. Why? Because over the past years, we've seen that if you were, as an example, going to the gym and you wanted to learn how to do certain exercises and improve your nutrition and so forth, you're going to type in, what should I eat for a gym schedule? What workout should I do as a beginner? Yada, yada, yada. Now, what will end up happening is that the search results which you're provided with might just be very heavily AI written content, which is giving you very generic answers, which is hidden behind a paywall, meaning that you don't actually get the answer to your question.
You have to pay in order to get that.
And you have to at least search multiple times or click on multiple results before getting the answer to your question. Now, there's something which was sacred in Google for a very long period of time.
Which is?
People trust position 1.
Okay.
So if you get your website to rank at position 1 of Google, automatically people trust that this is the right search engine scouring the internet and finding the best answer for the particular question. What happens over the past couple of years, I believe, is that, and I cannot verify this, but it's just, I've been in this game for a long time. I've seen what I've seen. And how I would read the situation is that Google is not an NGO. They're not there to just give you answers to your questions for nothing, right?
Okay.
They do this because that attracts a lot of users to their website.
Yes.
How does Google make money? Through advertisements, pay-per-click. Now, if you already control 9/10 of the market, how do you generate more clicks on the search results, more potential to serve more advertisements? You don't provide the best answer the first time, meaning that you're going to be able to serve an ad multiple times. That's the way that they make money. Am I saying this is what they're doing? No. But I cannot find logic and reason as to why the improvements were not sustainable to the point where they had to start releasing so many this year to improve the situation.
Did I understand you correctly, what you were implying? That Google would actually do some form of self-harm in order to carry on getting the more clicks to remain the 9th.
Well, look, I'm not in the Google meetings. I'm not in their board. I don't understand what's going on behind the veil. But what I can say is that if I were looking at increasing my revenue month on month, what methods would I have to increase my revenue? And giving the best answer to a question where people click really quickly on position 1 of Google and then go away, that's not going to make me more money. So what motivation could you have for not improving your product significantly and then having to react to the market? I would say that if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
So number one is, if you have a system which is working extremely well over a long period of time and you're generating revenue every single month, why potentially hit your revenue and veer off to another model and update the system to something which maybe doesn't work as well and generate as much revenue? And number two, if the system works so well and provides such good answers to the questions, how can I generate more clicks if I already generate 9/10 out of all of the clicks? Now, I cannot confirm this. I'm not accusing anyone of anything, but I'm just rationalizing.
It's a theory.
It's a theory, right?
It's
a theory.
Okay, so maybe from theory now, but we move a bit to fact. Within the community of SEO, do you share information with each other? Like, for example, do you discuss the Google algorithm?
For sure.
You do?
Of course. I mean, it's...
So is this like a hackers group, have their own group chat and you discuss things like that? How do you handle this sort of thing?
So the first thing is that SEO as a community online is huge. So
Okay.
yeah, so if you're going to go onto Reddit or specific Facebook groups or even other means within your own team or within Malta itself, you're going to find a lot of groups of SEOs who are effectively rating themselves against other SEOs by how high they rank on Google, right? It's a very competitive game. And there are people who have a hacker mentality, and then there are people who have, let's say, the more long-term game mentality.
Okay.
And those types of people tend to branch out with each other.
Two groups
Two groups, okay? So you have those two schools of thought who
within
tend-
the same community, but
within the same community who tend to hang out with each other and exchange ideas. So there are certain practices which then do have those groups which are considered, let's not use the word that I want to use, but let's say grey tactics, okay? And that's a different community in itself. And that's the one which might be on those groups in specific forums that you're talking about, okay? But effectively, SEO is one of those things that everyone thinks that they know something that someone else doesn't and so forth. But the truth is that no one really understands how the algorithm works. The only thing that we have is our collective experience of
dealing with different situations.
applying certain changes and seeing what the impact is over
So it's
time.
a case of trial and error then dealing with the algorithm change.
There's no specific course from Google which will tell you how to optimize for Google. And this is what makes it so complicated, right? So the only thing which can separate a good SEO from a bad SEO is I say something, I come up with a theory like we just did, but then I back it up with results, meaning I didn't only say it, but I did it, and here are the results. Now, a lot of people get lost in the noise in SEO. Why it's also so difficult to find good SEOs also, because since there's no course, there's no certification, there's no exact information being provided by Google representatives or liaisons themselves,
Then you have to work on your own
you have to work on your own.
within the community.
Within the community, you can share certain information that you generate that, like recently, there's been a lot of talk about how traffic is impacting search results and these kinds of things. I mean, we've known about this for a very long period of time, but now it's coming to, let's say, the broader community. Okay, and now everyone's talking about it and everyone's trying it out. And there are services out there that do this, and people are starting to see the results for themselves. So you have your own team and your own, let's say, clique that you run your tests with and you exchange ideas with. But that happens intra-company. It happens let's say, internal community. But then there are other people and other groups who are doing the exact same thing, trying different things and seeing what the results are. Now, some people might tell you, hey, what we're doing is extremely hard to replicate, and they might hold it very close to their chest. But at the end of the day, if you really know what to look for, the data points which are going to actually impact the search engine results, you don't even need to get the tip from the people. You can just go in, analyze things yourself, and there's no one better to tell you what's working and what's not working on Google than the search results themselves.
It's a bit different today. Today, the questions, because I've had time to think, I need to get more out of you. So, we've spoken about the algorithm, we've spoken about the community which exists within the SEO world. Is there a large SEO community here in Malta?
I wouldn't say the largest in the world, but we do have quite a lot of SEOs on the island. We do have a lot of SEO professionals.
Skilled?
In some cases, yes. In some cases,
Okay.
yes.
Excuse my ignorance again.
Yes.
When you are an SEO on gaming, do those skills you have as an SEO for a gaming product translate into other products? So, for example, I want you to start SEOing for a sports academy.
So, there are some principles which are the same throughout.
Okay.
Now, SEO, let's break it down. What is it, SEO? SEO is optimization of what happens on the website.
Short.
Yeah.
I thought we had just 5 minutes left.
Don't worry, this won't take long.
Okay.
Yeah. What happens on the website, what happens off the website, and how it's built. Okay, the technology. So typically you have people who specialize, okay, in each and every one of these verticals.
Okay.
So when you're building up an SEO team, you need great content managers, people who really understand the industry well, who really are experts and can demonstrate that expertise. You need people who really understand how to do link building, how the competitors are doing link building, how you can do.
Link building, just so that I remember if I got it right last.
Yeah.
Still got it. This would be articles in other websites, for example, which link to your main website, right?
Exactly, but also people mentioning you in general, social media signals. So everything that you can do to influence the rankings of the website. And then there's the technical side, which requires a different skill set, which is someone who's highly effective at reviewing how different pages load and the network receives certain packets and all of these different variables. Now, let's say there are these individual people, and then there are the people who understand everything overall, and then can build out teams or resources which can handle those individual verticals. So in SEO on iGaming websites, let's say in particular on operators, there seems to be more focus put on the on-page and the off-page, but not as much on the technology, because SEO is the last thing to get the technical team's attention for update when you're dealing with things which can, as an example, generate more money for the company, such as CRM and other different verticals of marketing. So SEO is always the last one. With affiliates, it's a little bit less on the link building and it's more on the technical and more on the on-page content side. Now, when you're looking at different verticals, as an example, e-commerce, it's very heavily focused on the technical and very heavily focused on the on-page and less so on the off-page. So
SEO would be less impactful on this vertical, right?
So on a vertical such as an academy or on a
e-commerce.
No, on an e-commerce, if set up correctly, it can be extremely effective. Yes. But you deal with a whole different set of issues.
But is SEO technical or not?
It is highly technical.
It is highly technical.
Yes,
Okay.
it's highly technical. And typically that's where people get stuck, where they don't want to go into the technicalities and breach that gap of knowledge. So typically it starts off either content or off page, then you go from one to the other, and then the next step is technical. And that's and when you understand...
And when you say technical in SEO, what do you mean? And that will be the last question.
Sure. So how the website is built. Google, as we mentioned last time, has a crawler, okay? And there are ways that
This is the robot text.
So this is something which you can implement a robots.txt file to ask the bot not to crawl your website.
Okay.
So there's the way that the user sees your website and there's the way that the bot sees your website. So effectively, you have to build the best experience for both the user and for the bot. Now that requires you to look into the way that your page is loading, the different elements which you have on your page. There are different factors which Google put into place in 2020 or 2021 called Core Web Vitals, LCP, CLS, and FID. And what do these do? It means that it's evaluating the largest contentful page, meaning that when the web page loads, what element on the page takes the longest to load? I'm going to assign my value to this particular metric, not on how well everything loads, but if you have one thing which loads and takes an extremely long time, it's going to mess everything up for you. CLS, cumulative layout shift. So if there are things bouncing around the page, or rather you present one thing when the page loads, but then another thing after the page completes loading, or something keeps on bouncing around, Google doesn't like that very much. Okay. And all of these different metrics put together create a score for Google on how technically capable your website is to serve the user. Because ultimately, Google understands that it only makes money if it gives people links to websites which provide them a good experience. And if you link to a website which takes over 10 seconds to load, average attention span today,
Yeah, I know.
You're gone already.
Part 3. Sean,
Yeah.
every time I come out, well, this is the second podcast I've had with you, but every time I sit down with you, I feel that I've taken more than I've given. So thank you so much. I really appreciate having you here.
It's my pleasure.
I hope the audience appreciates as well. And I am planning possibly a tri-person podcast. Maybe we'll have a good chat with JJ Gatt. That would be the next thing to happen. But in the meantime, Sean, thank you. I'd like to thank all the crew for their patience in filming these. And I urge you to click on the Sigma World page on YouTube and also click on that subscribe button. Thank you so much and take care.